Binance is sitting on 1.6 billion XRP in one wallet, and almost nobody has read that number. I pulled it off the live XRPScan today. That wallet is the shelf the whole market buys from, and your 500 XRP competes with it. Nobody can mint one new XRP to top up that pile. Give me 9 minutes, and you'll know exactly where that leaves your stack. So what happens to the XRP price the day the pile shrinks? Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you want more XRP news. Let's move to the first tape. One wallet, 1.6 billion XRP, and the verified tag on it reads Binance. Here is what that number actually is spoken plainly. When people move XRP into Binance, it pulls into a few giant wallets like this one on your screen. That pile is the XRP that can genuinely change hands this week. The supply is switched on. Now put it beside the numbers I read off XRPScan live network stats today. 66 billion XRP circulating, another 33 billion locked in escrow on the XRP Ledger, released only on the schedule the XRP Ledger itself enforces, and that was yesterday's video that I covered. And 14 million XRP is already burned, gone for good, because every transaction on the XRP Ledger destroys a small fee. Now the line I need you to sit with. Every XRP that will ever exist was created on day one. There are no XRP miners. There is no print button. Nobody, not Ripple, not the SEC, not Binance, can make one more. So when a pile like this runs down, the only refill is another holder agreeing to sell. You already know how XRP holders feel about that one, which leaves me with the demand as the whole ballgame. And in February, Ripple's own studio put a number on the money, still waiting outside. Let's listen to this one.
I'm Lauren Weymouth, and in our podcast all about blockchain, we are cutting through the crypto noise to reveal meaningful ways blockchain technology relates to our lives and reveal real-world use cases. We often talk about the 3 trillion opportunity in digital assets, but we rarely talk about the 2 billion protective gap. The hacks, the depegs that keep institutional capital on the sidelines. Now, today's guest is tackling that gap head on. Why is the XRP Ledger particularly suited for this financial infrastructure project, and how does it compare to other lay ones?
So XRP is used in one of our key products, which is a product that was used to test this hypothesis of, are we able to separate risk from underlying mechanisms? That sounds a bit vague, but I'll explain that. So when you put your money into a crypto bank, on-chain crypto bank, you're taking on a certain amount of risk. Is there a way that you can separate that risk from the act of depositing funds into the bank? That was kind of the test that I was running with this one particular product, which is like it's effectively a risk trading tool where the underlying mechanics, whatever it is, whether you're depositing funds into a certain smart contract, whether it's sending money to some other person, whether it's using a bridge, whatever the underlying mechanism was, we're separating the risk from that underlying mechanism so that the risk itself can be a tradable, tangible asset. So maybe hedge funds can trade that risk. There's this big hype about like Polymarket and Kalshi being used for hedging risks. Now, what if you could do the same thing with the actual risk itself? There's swaps in the traditional world where an institution that's buying certain asset in the UK from the US, they would buy a swap for the currency so that you're not, the price fluctuations of US dollar and GBP don't affect their investment. So who knows, what if like tomorrow you can use these crypto swaps to sell or buy risk based off of the investment strategy that you're using. So that was the kind of mechanism that I was testing out. And of course, like XRP EVM was a perfect platform to test that on. Firstly, because it was EVM compatible, and a lot of our smart contracts were deployed using Solidity. It makes it super simple and interoperable to other chains in the future. Interop is a really big field in crypto, and enabling that means no matter which hedge fund uses which chain, they would all still be able to use our platform. So now it's like the ideal goal. And of course, like using XRPL has its own benefits of, the XRP being one of the highest liquidity tokens in crypto, which means that maybe tomorrow the liquidity providers would be the ones that are depositing XRP for an extra yield, because XRP doesn't have native staking. So maybe this should be the way that they earn interest by putting XRP as liquidity to underwrite crypto risk.
A $3 trillion opportunity with institutional capital parked on the sideline behind one solvable problem. That is Ripple's own podcast on Ripple's own channel. Now connect the sentence to the wallet you just watched. Sideline money does not say sideline forever. The safety net described is being built by the episode's own guest, and the whole industry is with him. And the day that money walks in, it cannot print XRP. It has to buy XRP from the visible pipes, from the same shelves everybody else shops. Stack the XRP ETFs already trading on top, and every bank circling the XRP Ledger for settlement that clears in 3 to 5 seconds, and the demand line only points one way. Now, the honest part, because I promised you the whole picture, and one number deserves daylight, Binance's big wallet is not the only pile. XRPScan's tagged read today put BitThumb at 1.8 billion XRP, Uphold at 1.4 billion XRP, Upbit 1.4 billion. So no, the market is not out of XRP tonight. But add the big tag piles together and you still land under 7 billion XRP, about a tenth of everything circulating. And Ripple and Boston Consulting Group already measured what is coming from the 10th. They wrote it down on the record. $18.9 trillion, and that is the middle of the range, not the top of it. Tokenization is a big word for a simple move. Talking real things like bonds, buildings, and dollars, and putting them on rails like the XRP Ledger so they move the way a text message moves. Ripple and Boston Consulting Group put that market at $18.9 trillion by 2033. And I named the date and the author because it's their projection, not mine. The same page reads JP Morgan's own tokenization platform has already processed more than $1.5 trillion. This is not a maybe someday industry. It is under construction while the crowd stares at a flat chart. So here is tonight's question, and I genuinely want your answer. When money that size finally reaches for XRP, which buyer empties Binance's pile first, the XRP ETFs or the banks? Drop ETFs or banks in the comments and tap the like, subscribe, and notification bell while you're down there. And before you answer, I'm going to show you how few seats the XRP Ledger actually has. That is the XRP Ledger's own manual live on your screen. And 2 lines on it matter tonight. First, every account on the XRP Ledger locks up a reserve. The page prints 1 XRP just to exist. A seat at the table is paid in the asset itself. Second, the manual says out loud the big venues keep all of their customers, XRP, in a few shared wallets. Millions of customers, one address. That is exactly why one Binance wallet can hold 1.6 billion XRP, and why the visible piles tell you more than any influencer chart will ever tell you. Now, count the seats. When I read XRPScan stats today, the XRP Ledger showed 8 million activated accounts. 8 million. That is one mid-sized city for a network built to settle money for a planet. However you hold it, a 500 XRP stack is already inside a room most of the world has not opened the door to yet. And because I never asked you to take one explorer's word for anything, I pulled up the same wallet on a second window. Reserve balance, exactly 1 XRP. The seat rule you just read in the manual, enforced by the machine on the biggest wallet in the room. Even Binance pays the door price in XRP. And beside it, the same 1.6 billion XRP printed in dollars, sitting at about 1.8 billion, sitting in one address, 2 independent windows, 1 reading, nobody's permission required. That is what it means to own an asset you can audit yourself at midnight. Give me 1 minute and you'll know what tonight's numbers make for your XRP. The XRP price is on your screen right now, and the price reads $1.08 today, up on the day. Everything on this board is plain math, not a prediction. 500 XRP costs around $540 right now. A weekend, not a windfall. Run that same stack at a 10 XRP price, and it shows $5,000. At $25, over $12,000. $40, $20,000. The whole ladder rides on the same rail. 1,000 XRP, $25 lands at $25,000. Nobody can tell you a day, and I'm not promising you one. I'm not in the prediction business, but what I can hand you is what you watch me read tonight, number by number. A supply finished on day 1, 14 million XRP burned and never coming back. A third of everything ever created still locked in escrow on a schedule nobody can rush. Fewer than 7 billion XRP sitting where the market can actually reach it. Trillions measured and still on the sidelines, and one Binance wallet holding 2.5% of the circulating XRP supply, while 8 million seats split the rest. The crowd meets the XRP supply math on the day a headline forces them to. And whatever price that day prints, you met it tonight with your 500 XRP already on the side of it. That's not hope. That is a balance anybody can go ahead and read. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.